What's up, fellow Shield Brothers? Shield Brother 6 here with another weekly dose of history. Now, I know you may be saying, Shield Brother 6, you already made a video this week. Yes, well, I was able to get a new microphone since the video quality on my last few videos was terrible, thanks to a Christmas present from my grandmother, and I thought I would make one to celebrate that over something I think is very fascinating, the bayonet. And you can consider Tuesday's video as a bonus video, and I hope you enjoy. Well, today's topic is bayonets and their history, and there's a diagram of the different reaches of bayonet there. What is it? Well, a bayonet, from which bayonet, is a bladed weapon similar to a knife or short sword designed to fit in, on, and eventually over or underneath the muzzle of a rifle or musket, allowing the user to use the firearm as an impromptu pike. Created as a replacement for the pike and musket combo, because in the early 16 and 1700s, the combo of modern, that was considered the most effective was there would be a cavalry unit, and then there were the pikemen and the musketmen. The musketmen could shoot and reload while being protected by the pikemen who had their spears and pikes to protect them. But it became evident that the cost of having both weapons and both types of men was just not efficient, so they created the bayonet in the early 1600s to be able to replace that, where you would insert the bayonet into the end of the barrel and then you could use it as a pike. Well, here I included a bayonet with a fuller with scabbard for the Lee Enfield rifle number 5 Mark I jungle carbine rifle on the left there. There's just one instance of a bayonet. The beginning. Well, originally in the early 1610s, it was a type of dagger, as a steel stabbing weapon fitted into the muzzle of a firearm, as I said, from French bayonet. It is also said to be from Bayonne, which is a city in Gascony where supposedly they were first used, which could be an influence of the name, but it's also just as well believed that perhaps it's a diminutive of the old French word Bayonne, which meant crossbow bolt. And in the bottom left, I included that dagger that was inserted into the musket. As you can see, it plugged it up, and then you could stab people with it. And I thought I would include this video on bayonets because many people of my generation just don't seem to understand or know what bayonets came from, what the reason was, and what the evidence was that why we have bayonets, and what the usage was, and the effectiveness was. So I thought I would make this video to explain that a little bit. First steps. The danger of the use of the plug bayonet, which could put a stop to all fire because it plugged it up, was felt so early after its initial use that the younger Poissegger, the inventor, invented a socket bayonet in 1678 that fitted over the muzzle using a circular band of metal, allowing the musket to still be loaded and fired. Soon socket bayonets were incorporate both ring mounts and an offset blade, keeping the bayonet away from the muzzle blast of the barrel for a cleaner rate of fire and more effective stabbing. And then in this diagram here of the French musketeer, you can see the later socket bayonet that used the spring-loaded clasp that kept it from falling off. And then the adaptation. Shortly after the Peace of Ryswick in 1697, the English and Germans abolished the pike in favor of the ring bayonets. In 1703, the French infantry adapted a spring-loaded locking system that prevented the bayonet from accidentally separating from the musket, as I said in that diagram in the last slide. Henceforward, the socket bayonet became, with the musket or other firearm, the typical weapon of the French infantry and many other European powers. A triangular blade was introduced around 1715 and was stronger than the previous single or double-edged models because it created wounds which were harder to treat due to the propensity of healing scar tissue to pull apart the triangular incision made by that blade, causing more casualties and more grievous wounds. Leaps and bounds made for the bayonet. The 19th century introduced the concept of the sword bayonet, a long-bladed weapon with a single or double-edged blade that could also be used as a short sword. Its initial purpose was to ensure that riflemen could form an infantry square properly to fend off cavalry attacks within ranks with musketmen whose weapons were longer, so that they could make the defensive square for any cavalry coming in, so they had this long range of impromptu pikes, which was easily attached. A prime early example of a sword bayonet fitted rifle is the British infantry rifle of 1800 to 1840, later known as the Baker rifle. The hilt usually had quillions modified to accommodate the gun barrel and a hilt mechanism that enabled the bayonet to be attached to a bayonet lug. A sword bayonet could be used also in combat as a sidearm, and there I included a more modern bayonet with the lug that you can see where it would slide on, which made it a lot more easy and faster to attach because you didn't have to attach, slide on, twist, pull, and then you were ready. No longer did you have to do that. You could just take your sword bayonet, slide it on, clasp, done. You could go into combat with your bayonet ready. So this was very revolutionary for the time. It changed how bayonets would be used and how fast they could be used, because no longer, like I said, was where you slowed down by the time it took to attach it. You just slid it on and you were ready. The reach controversy. This is where the use of the bayonet started to decline. See, bayonet charges, as depicted in this painting here, you wanted the longest reach possible so you could stab the other guy before he stabbed you, right? Well, that was also a tactical decline, because the longer the blade they found, the more it weighed, and the more your weapon would dip if you were trying to fire, and the harder it was to stab someone where you wanted to stab them because the weight was dipping the weapon down, because it was very front heavy because of this long blade attached to it, which caused very many weight issues as well as accuracy and efficiency issues. And that's kind of where people started to decide, well, either we have a shorter blade and we're more efficient, or we have a longer blade and we have the length and the reach. So that's the reach controversy that kind of caused the decline, along with many other, military and technological advances that caused the decline of the bayonet. Modern day, recent usage, there's actually many British uses recently of the bayonet. The British Army mounted bayonet charges during the Falklands War, the Second Gulf War, and even the war in Afghanistan. In 2004, in Iraq, at the Battle of Danny Boy, the Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders bayonet-charged mortar positions filled with over 100 Mahdi Army members. The ensuing hand-to-hand combat resulted in an estimate of over 40 insurgents killed and 35 bodies collected due to the battle of hand-to-hand bayonet combat, which is just mind-blowing, because in a day where we could remotely guide a missile, they're still using bayonets when needed as a last resort, but efficiently. That's the thing. And Sergeant Brian Wood of the Princess of Wales Royal Regiment was even awarded the Military Cross for his part in that battle. In 2009, Lieutenant James Adamson, aged 24, of the Royal Regiment of Scotland, was awarded the Military Cross for a bayonet charge whilst on a tour of duty in Afghanistan, after shooting Taliban soldier dead as Adamson had run out of ammunition. When another enemy appeared charging towards him, he immediately pulled out his bayonet, attached it, and charged the second Taliban fighter and bayoneted him. In September 2012, Lance Corporal Sean Jones of the Princess of Wales Regiment was awarded the Military Cross for his role in a bayonet charge, which took place in October 2011. So, as late as 2011, in October, the British military was still effectively using British bayonet charges to take down insurgents and other enemies of their military. A continuation of that. Although the bayonet has declined in favor of long-range guns and tactical guns, most military powers, if not all, still give bayonet training to their infantry soldiers and provide a bayonet or knife with attachment of some sort in their kit. And as you can see in this 1992 painting depicting the 65th Infantry U.S. Division bayonet charge against a Chinese division during the Korean War. So even though they may have been slightly phased out of actual practical use, the infantry of many military powers are still trained hard on how to efficiently use a bayonet. And here is the French soldier of World War I with that long bayonet that I was talking about that caused the reach controversy. But thank you for watching. This has been Shield Brother 6 with your another weekly dose of history. As always, I hope you enjoyed, and please leave a like, please leave a dislike, and leave a comment. I'll catch you next time.